Oi, oi, plug-in people. Welcome back to another episode of Is It Shit? Today we're looking at something from Neural DSP. We're looking at the mantra. Let's find out. Is it? Welcome people. Yes, Neural DSP's mantra. This was suggested in the comments and yeah, I've heard of Neural DSP. I'm not sure we've looked at any of their stuff. Maybe we have, but I don't remember. Might have happened a while ago. Anyway, Neural DSP mantra is basically like a vocal processing one-stop shop. It was a proper can of worms. Normally when I demo a plugin, I install it, I mess around with it. Normally I can work it out and get whether I like it or not fairly quickly. This thing, whew, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I was messing with it for ages and finding new things that it did, and then I'm like, I better read the manual a bit. And it's like, it's pretty deep, let's say. Anyway, because of that, we should crack on because there's a lot to get through. So let's start by saying it uses some kind of Neural DSP development plugin way of working. I don't understand that stuff. I don't understand that stuff. I know how to use this stuff. Don't understand how it works really. Let's just look at this first window. This is kind of when you open it, this is what you see. You can see at the top we've got the input. You can flip it between mono and stereo. Some things in stereo don't work. So like the auto-tune bit doesn't work in stereo. And then you've got a monitoring between tracking and mixing, and that just depends. There's such a lot going on. There's latency and stuff, which tracking mode can sometimes work better, and mixing works better for other things. It's kind of, you know, when you press play and you've got that lag, that's fine when you're mixing. When you're tracking, you need that stuff to be immediate. So yeah, two different ways of that working. You then set the root and the scale. How important is that? Pretty important, depending on what you're going to do with this. A lot of the normal vocal processing things, it doesn't matter what key you put it in, but if you're going to use any kind of tuning or it does harmonies and all that kind of stuff, you're going to need to get that dialed in. Pretty easy to work out, and you can even change the tuning itself. So, you know, it's set at 440 obviously, but you can change that. That's really useful. We've then got a bunch of presets here. There's a limiter on the output, again useful, and then there's an output control and meters. Down the bottom we have got the windows. Now this whole bit down the bottom scrolls. So at the moment you can see we've got tuning, and if you clicked that you'd go to the tuning bit. Everything is basically, you click on it and you get a bigger window. So that would open up the tuning window. You've got the gate, that would open up the gate window. You've got the sculpt. This is the window we're looking at. This is like the overall EQ, and you have what's called a target curve. And when you first insert it, it basically says learning. So you play your vocal through it and it learns the EQ, the vibe of your vocal. And then you can choose a bunch of different target curves, the percentage of how much you want that to do its thing, and then dynamics as well. Pretty damn clever. We've then got the DS a bit. Again, it's only how much DSing do you want on here, but click on that, you go to the full page where you can see the waveform and which peaks are being de-essed, which ones are triggering the de-esser. We've then got the actual EQ window. If you go to that one, where are we? I didn't have that one on my iPad. Okay, but that just gives you a more detailed look at the EQ, a bunch of nodes. It puts in a curve for you as it's analysed it, and you can change it. The compressor one, when you open up the compressor, you've just got, you know, the start. You can see it, you can see the waveform, you can see how much it's triggering the compressor. You can drag this to move the compressor, you know, threshold up and down, or you can do it down here. You can choose between tube, stress and multi. You've got your ratios, you've got your attack and release times, that kind of thing. It's pretty easy to use. The graphic really helps to set it up. You've then got saturation mode. You click on that, again you've got tube, you've got solid state, you've even got digital saturation. Again, just add your saturation as you need it to the vocal to give yourself a bit of that extra thickness sometimes. And then at the top of the whole thing, you can see there's these three icons. So this first one on the left is the one we've been looking at. This is all your, you know, your dynamics, your EQ, your compression, all that kind of stuff. The next one along, that is basically all your harmonies. Now, this is pretty incredible. It's got a very it reminded me a lot of the Eventide Harmonite H3000. It's kind of easier to set up. The H3000, I used to scroll through presets, go, yep, that'll do, and you know, now and again you'd take out something that sounded bad, but pretty much you'd pick a preset and live with it. This encourages you to get stuck in. Obviously you set your key, you set the root note and you set the scale, and then down here you can basically tell it everything you want to know about each of the harmonies. So you can select the voicing library here, select a chord, you've got triads, you've got sevenths and fifths and all kinds of other things. You can see all the harmonies represented by these discs on the end of sticks, and that is where they are in volume, top to bottom, and then in width, stereo width, left to right. So you can move them close to the middle to get them a more mono thing, or spread them further apart. I mean, it's so clever. It's really clever. And you can listen to each of them individually. Yeah, very, very cool. You can change the octave, you can get stuck in and change everything, but a lot of the presets are just going to work. You can set some variances for pitch and time to make it more human. There's a low cut, there's a high cut, you've got your overall level and width, and you can quantize it or not, you know, from the point of view of the scaling. Pretty impressive. Just that bit alone is like, oh wow, okay, that's very smart. Then we scroll across to the FX icon, and that gives us the effects window. And we've got a delay section where you can have, I think it's 4 different kinds of delays. There's like dotted delays, there's tape delays, there's regular, you know, clean delays, and then there's the delays that have degradation, let's say. You can set the time, the feedback, the width, whether it's ping-ponging or not, the high cut, the low cut, the mix of it for the main vocal, and then the mix of it for the harmonies mix. That's really smart. It's not just global. It's like, how much of this do you want to add to the main vocal, and how much of this do you want to add to those harmonies we've just done? That's smart. Same again, but with the reverb section, a bunch of different reverbs, set all the usual stuff, pre-delay, decay, high cut, low cut, how much to the main vocal, how much for the harmonies mix, and you can even have it ducking, same with the delay, really useful. We then have the modulation bit, you know, we have chorus, flange and phaser. Again, rate, depth, how much for the main vocal, how much for the harmonies, and then there's a doubler as well. It's so deep and involved, and it allows you to do so much. It's pretty mind-blowingly clever. If there was one thing I would change, it's the harmonies. I would love to be able to route them to a different output. That's the only thing. The idea of putting my vocal with all the harmonies just down one stereo fader, I'm not loving that. I get it that you could copy and paste and you could just have your harmony. You could do that yourself. You could basically double up your vocal track, stick one of these on, mute the main vocal in the output kind of thing, and just have your harmonies, and then you could use another one on just the lead vocal. That's the way to get around it. But yeah, I guess that's something plugins are not able to do very easily, add extra outputs. That's the thing that yeah, I've seen it on certain things, but maybe not this kind of thing. Maybe it's just not doable. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, incredible. Presets are pretty impressive. As you'll see from the demo, it's a bonkers thing. Compared to Pulsar's Vocal Studio, because I was testing them both at the same time, they're kind of like, they're both brilliant, but the Pulsar one allows you to get results very quickly, really quickly, you know, on the fly almost, and just crack on and get a great sound. This one is going to take some time. This is right, I'm going to spend some time now working on the vocal sound, and you might get 2 or 3 different vocal sounds for different parts of the song. It's going to take some time to fine tune this, but it's able to do some incredible stuff if you give it the time. So very, very clever. Let's look at the demo. It's a full 14 days, no weird pops or clicks, none of that stuff. So that's very cool. Price wise, it's 199 euros, which is the same full price as the Pulsar Vocal Studio, but that's discounted to 89 euros at the moment. This isn't. This is 199 euros. Now, there's a lot going on. You're getting a lot for 199 euros. However, I still have a thing in my head, that's a lot of money for a plugin. You know, when sometimes your DAW doesn't cost that, and it does so much. This does a bunch of things for vocals, but it's not as fully featured as a whole DAW, so should it cost this much? I don't know. I'd say that's the only thing I'm going to say negative about it is that there's a bit of a learning curve. You're going to have to take some time to get to know it and to get the best out of it. And I think €199 is pushing it a bit price-wise. So star rating, I'm giving Neural DSP Mantra 4 stars, which is still really good. It's not shit at all. It's a very cool plugin. So yeah, have a listen to the demo at the end. I just put, same as on the Pulsar Vocal Studio one, it's just the vocals going through this, obviously. You can't put a mix through it, and that would be very weird. Anyway, there you go. Another plugin down. If you could like the video, that really helps. If you could subscribe to the channel, that helps even more. There are 2 Instagram accounts. There's Studio Loft 101 for the channel, and there's Mixdown Mastering for my mixing and mastering services. If you go to the website, there's a bunch of courses on mixing and mastering and compression. There's the top 5 plugins, whole bunch of other stuff. Demos coming up at the end, and I will see you next time. Adios.